This is KGW News at 11.
We begin with breaking news tonight as the death toll after a massive earthquake in Turkey and Syria continues to rise. Right now, 360 people have died. Now, here's some pictures of the wreckage. As you can see, buildings have collapsed to rubble and cars have been crushed under the debris. Right now, crews are searching through the wreckage for any survivors. Experts warn the death toll is expected to rise. The quake was registered as a 7.8 magnitude earthquake. That big yellow dot you see is where it centered at. This happened around 5:30 our time. The smaller red dots that you see are the aftershocks, and some of those aftershocks are extremely strong, as strong as a 4.5 in some areas. Again, the latest reports say 360 people have been killed in Turkey and Syria. Now to your local news tonight. We begin with a fire in Vancouver. You can see the flames in this video. One of our viewers named Lawrence sent it in a short time ago. Authorities say a car crashed into the side of this home, then caught fire. The fire spread to the home, causing damage. Authorities say one person was taken to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. Now we're still waiting on details from authorities tonight on about what led up to this crash.
But it's been an exciting time just to see all the members of this union coming together.
After 3 days of striking, the city of Portland and Local 483, the union representing Portland city laborers, have reached a tentative agreement. The strike ended early this morning. The union represents over 600 employees that provide essential services. Bryant Clerkley went to a rally earlier tonight. Bryant, what are some of the terms of this agreement?
Hey, Joe, there are a lot of terms to this agreement, but one of the most important things is a minimum 13% salary increase for all Portland city laborers by July 1st of this year. Some of the other terms include increases in standby pay, more time for rest periods between shifts, and the removal of a cap on sick leave for dependent care. We spoke to city workers at the rally today, and they say that this is a huge win.
When public services are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. That's right.
After 3 days of striking, finally a tentative agreement. Workers in wastewater treatment, pollution testing, street maintenance, and park ranger services have reached an agreement with the city of Portland. One of the most important parts of this tentative agreement is a 13% salary increase for all Portland city laborers by July 1st of 2023. At a rally in North Portland Sunday evening, you could feel the relief in the air.
It's been really invigorating to see people feel their own power and recognize their value to the city in a way the city wouldn't.
They want you with your hands on your tools for as long as possible, for as little pay as they can give you.
During the rally, you could see city workers holding up signs that said solidarity with essential workers and city workers make the city work. Other parts of the agreement include increases in standby pay and increases in annual work hours for seasonal park rangers. Negotiations between union representatives and the city had gone on for about 10 months.
It's also going to help the city financially because they're not going to lose quality people. They're not going to struggle with the costs of recruitment and retaining. They're not going to struggle with the high cost of low morale, where people do the bare minimum.
The work isn't all the way done, but phew, we get to take a breath.
In a statement, the city said, "We're grateful that we were able to maintain the essential services Portlanders rely on every day. We're also grateful that we can welcome our colleagues back to work." Killian Haas is an arborist with the city of Portland.
Especially with the cost of living, if you don't get it now, then you lose it every year. For this, and the same concept on saving money early for retirement. You don't want to lose money on your pay early in your career. And we feel that if we didn't address it now, then it would get worse and it'd be harder to climb up that hill and make up the difference.
This agreement requires a vote from PCL members and the Portland City Council. Bargaining teams from both sides are preparing the agreement for those votes, and the vote should happen this week. Joe?
Thanks, Brian. It's nice to see both sides finally reach an agreement after 3 days of striking. The Coast Guard is searching for a missing person tonight in the Willapa Bay in Washington. Crews say they found 2 people so far and say 1 person is missing. Crews used lifeboats, a helicopter, and a rescue swimmer to get to the survivors. They have both been taken to the hospital. No word yet on how they are doing. The Coast Guard says they are still actively looking for the 3rd missing person tonight. Well, as we go from the news to weather real quick, Daisy Caballero is talking about your work week forecast and more of the same, just kind of mild conditions, right?
Mild conditions, Joe, yes. The bulk of all of the rain that we saw today, we're not expecting to see a whole ton for the rest of the night. No rain tomorrow, a lot of that cloud coverage, but let's take a live look outside Portland right now. We are at 45 degrees. Again, pretty mild conditions, especially compared to where we were, I guess, this time last week. Those winds are pretty calm as well. All right, so this is that system that has been bringing us a lot of that rain and also some mountain snow. For us along the Portland metro area and much of the I-5 corridor, we, within the last 24 hours, have seen right around half of an inch of rain and close to a full inch along our coastline. And like I told Joe, more is on the way, but again, not expecting to see anything as early as tomorrow. All right, taking a really quick look at those highs for our Sunday. We capped out at 51 degrees for Vancouver, Portland, Hillsborough, 49 over in Kelso, 48 over near Hood River. Our warmest condition was the Dalles. They saw 55 degrees. All right, really quick look at that 3-day forecast, but Joe, we'll talk more about that 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Daisy, we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Drug addiction and overdoses are affecting every corner of our state. Oregon saw a 3-fold increase in opioid overdose deaths in a recent 2-year span. The controversial law Measure 110 was put into place to help people access recovery services, but it also decriminalized certain amounts of hard drugs. A report was just released on how the program has been going. Blair Best reports.
The early data shows Measure 110 is making an immediate impact for people struggling with substance abuse across the state. That's everything from housing, access to treatment, and increasing outreach staff. However, some lawmakers are still skeptical of the program, and regardless of this data, are threatening to cut back on its funding. In a preliminary report released last week, the Oregon Health Authority found more than 60,000 Oregonians struggling with addiction were helped through Measure 110. That's the Drug Addiction Treatment and Recovery Act voters approved in 2020.
This is really expanding a workforce that is critical and was kind of previously very underfunded.
Measure 110 decriminalized user amounts of hard drugs and redirected tax dollars from marijuana sales to pay for addiction recovery centers and grants. The report shows in the first 3 months of the program, Measure 110 providers helped more than 18,000 people, primarily in rural areas of the state. And later, through the Access to Care grants, another 42,000 people received treatment and temporary housing. About $3 million went toward hiring employees.
We know that Access to Care created over 200 new jobs and staff training for roles such as peer support specialists, certified recovery mentors.
Overall, $265 million was given to 42 recovery groups and 11 tribal partners, reaching every county in the state.
A sobering center in Southern Oregon reported that they had eased the local emergency room burden and served as a stepping stone to residential treatment and detox services.
Less than 24 hours after the data was released, the House Revenue Committee held a public hearing where they talked of cutting funding for Measure 110, as much as $60 million, a recommendation that's at odds with Governor Tina Kotek's proposed budget she released last week.
Investing in substance use treatment and services. Addressing gaps in treatment by providing startup costs for residential detox and inpatient treatment.
Many argue parts of Measure 110, like decriminalizing certain amounts of hard drugs, is making the addiction crisis worse, and access to treatment isn't expanding fast enough, leaving people like David Castle,
and that's where I shut up just a while ago,
who's addicted to heroin and homeless in the Dalles.
A lot of people just die on the streets because that's the only way there is.
Falling through the cracks.
If there's no detox here, the hospital won't do nothing for you. They'll give you a shot and send you back out on the streets.
Do you think Measure 110 has made it easier for you to stay on the street and stay addicted?
Oh, yeah. When you don't get in trouble for using drugs, oh, yeah, a lot easier.
More data around Measure 110 will be released in April, and the next hearing on the bill's funding is on Tuesday. Blair Best, KGW News.
An off-duty New York police officer was shot in the head Saturday night. The shooting happened while the off-duty officer was trying to buy a car from someone on Facebook Marketplace. The officer was taken to a nearby hospital. He is in critical condition tonight. Tonight, detectives are still looking for the suspect. Protesters gathered in Los Angeles County today demanding accountability after the fatal shooting of a double amputee last month. New footage of the encounter is expected to be released tomorrow, which could reveal key details about the moments leading up to the shooting. NBC's Dana Griffin has more. We want to warn you first, though, some of the footage can be disturbing.
Tonight, outrage in Los Angeles County as the city of Huntington Park awaits the release of new surveillance video showing the deadly police shooting of 36-year-old Anthony Lowe Jr.
We've got to find a way to hold the police, the sheriff department accountable.
The wheelchair-bound double amputee was shot roughly 10 times by Huntington Park police during this encounter on January 26, captured in this grainy cell phone video. It shows Lowe attempting to flee from officers while holding what appears to be a large knife. Another angle shows officers approaching with their guns drawn, one flinching before they start firing. You can hear the sounds of gunshots as a vehicle obstructs the full view. Before the shooting, officers say Lowe stabbed a man with a 12-inch butcher knife. Lowe allegedly threatened to advance or throw the knife at the officers, who say they then deployed 2 separate tasers but were ineffective. Police said after Lowe's continued advances, officers opened fire.
They treated my cousin like he was the animal.
The officers seen in the video have been placed on paid administrative leave, pending the investigation. On Friday, the family announced they would be filing a lawsuit against the city, alleging wrongful death and civil rights violations.
You can tell that he was in fear for his life. You know, he had no legs. It could have been handled any other way.